What Radio, the music you want.
With your host, Keys Dan.
Is he giving off too much of a creepy Oompa Loompa vibe?
RadioWhat.com. What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming at you live and in living color on another What Makes You Famous podcast. It's kind of an extension of my online radio station at RadioWhat.com. See how that works? What makes you famous? It's either what makes you famous or what? Radio What makes you famous? A little more famous than you already were. Because to somebody, you are famous. Somebody loves you. Somebody out there cares about you. They do. They do, I tell you. I care about you. I'll be your friend. I'll be the man in your ear. Why am I talking a little bit like Katharine Hepburn? I've never done a Katharine Hepburn before that I can remember. I think I just did a very poor Katharine Hepburn. Well, which brings me to who's on the program today. Jason Lancaster, my man, rock guitarist. Get to know a little bit more about Jason Lancaster, find out what's going on in his life and how he came to be where he is now. I get to talk to him quite a bit, but I didn't know the story. And now I know a little bit more about the story. And if you keep listening, you will too. Let's take a listen. Jason Lancaster, guitarist, amongst other things.
Oh my God, you didn't like a dark story. Check 1 2 microphone check, man. Come on now. I look like I'm in the red up there.
Ah, you're fine.
Yeah, I know. It's
we can
make a fist in front of your face.
I hardly ever make a fist. That's why we got the spit covers on there.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure it works out all right. Jason Lancaster, man. Is that the name we're going by today?
It's the name we're going by. I just use Lee Carlisle just to, I don't know. I've gone through so many times and deleted that Facebook account or deactivated it because, you can't delete it anymore. They keep everything. But just to throw a little confusion in there, Yeah.
Man. I've talked to you so many times, man. We've talked on the phone. We've talked in person. But we've never had a long conversation. So I really don't know that much about you. And I'd like to know more about you. Because I know it feels to me like you're a rock star, man. But, either. All right. I'm going to relate it to my experience. Because when I was in Miami, I had some kind of modicum of fame, some little bit of fame where people would recognize me or at least recognize my voice because I was on the radio. So I was in their ears all the time at Exito 105.5, which is now a defunct station down in Miami. But they would see me on the streets or hear me and say, "Hey, are you Keys Dan?" And I remember one time somebody saying, "Are you Keys Dan?" or really making a big deal about meeting me.
Yeah.
And another guy came up and I had to explain to him why I'm famous, which
is odd. Yeah.
Isn't it though?
I mean, whenever you don't really feel famous, you're just like, yeah, this guy knows me from something I've done in my.
Well, this is me projecting on you. And this is how I feel.
That's fairly accurate. I mean, I was part of a group called Few Left Standing back in the day, which this would be like 98, 99 to 2000.
Okay.
And
a few left standing.
And we were fairly, we played shows here in Little Rock, played Vino's, a couple other places. We actually opened for POD at the fairgrounds, and that was when they first got signed.
What fairgrounds would those be?
Whatever the fairgrounds are in Little Rock.
Okay, I'll say Little Rock Fairgrounds. I'm just saying because they don't know where we're at, man. These are people all over the world listening to this.
But there was like a big Christian metal band called Living Sacrifice. And
Christian metal.
Metal.
That sounds like an oxymoron to me.
No,
Isn't metal the devil's music?
It's a very big market, I'll say.
Okay.
Christian metal is a big deal.
Whatever gets your message across, man. If you get to the kids,
Right. But Living Sacrifice was big in this area, and we were friends with them. Of course, we were from the Memphis area. I mean, I'm a transplant here.
From where?
From Memphis, actually,
Memphis,
West Memphis, across the river.
Now, West Memphis is not Tennessee.
It's not Tennessee. It's actually it's a town across the Mississippi River in Arkansas, on the Arkansas side.
So the people that went and developed that town just said, I don't know what to call it. What do you guys call it over there? And where are we? West? Yeah. Okay. Let's just call it that. West.
Yeah. They weren't very creative. We're just west of Memphis. West of Memphis, south of heaven is what I say.
So that's on the split of the river, of the Mississippi River.
Yeah. You've got West Memphis, and you've got the levee, that holds back the Mississippi River when it floods, and it floods a lot here lately. It seems like.
What?
It gets almost to the crest here lately.
Not like New Orleans flood.
No,
that levee break flood.
You start going, once it gets to a certain point. But yeah, so West Memphis is on the Arkansas side.
All right.
And I grew up for the first 11, 12 years of my life there in West Memphis. Then I moved to outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee.
What year is this?
Oh my goodness. This had to be, 88. 88.
Hey, just to tell the listeners, we're not in the usual Radio What studios. We're hanging out in Jason Lancaster's dining room, I guess. This is a nice table.
Mikasa Sukasa.
It's kind of a rainy day. The rain has lit up a little bit here in Conway, Arkansas, but certainly I'm glad to be here. So if you hear any background noise, it's the fam.
Yeah, it's a
Sunday.
My
Sunday
son's
morning.
in there playing video games, and my wife's in there listening and just on her phone.
Well, that's
I better not say anything too stupid.
Nah, it's the American family, man. Just everybody on their own screens doing their own thing, which is great. And every once in a while, just come together and love you. Still love you. All right. Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah. Exactly.
So back to 11 or 12 years old, coming out of West Memphis.
Yeah.
Going to Chattanooga, Tennessee.
It's Saudi Daisy.
Saudi Daisy.
Yeah.
Population.
It's crazy. There was a town called Saudi. There was a town called Daisy.
Okay.
They merged.
Okay.
Saudi Daisy.
Probably because there was 3 guys on that side and 4 guys on that side. Man, we don't have enough for a town.
Right.
And 1 coon dog.
Exactly. They had 2 stills, and they had to come together for 1 moonshine still, to sell to the other hill people.
Now, do you know the history of Saudi Daisy?
No.
How many people live there? Is it a tiny town?
It wasn't a big town. I lived in sight of the Tennessee River and TVA, like the big nuke plant there on the Tennessee River. My dad worked at that point in time. It was a engineering company called Combustion Engineering, and they inspect the welds on the containment my dad worked for companies, engineering firms that inspect the welds on pipelines and the containment for the reactors for nuclear plants.
So Dad's been doing that his whole life, or his whole career life?
Pretty much, yeah. He grew up in a heat treatment plant. Like his father owned a heat treatment plant, so him and his brothers worked in it. That's kind of how he got his way into this job as a project manager for this work he does, and inspecting the welding of the the pipelines and whatnot.
Inspecting nuclear facilities.
Right. Just going in and making sure there's no like cracks or inconsistencies in the walls and the containment. So
I know people are wondering, has anything ever gone wrong to your knowledge that your dad has figured out?
He's
saved the day.
No, he's told me like some things, but nothing that drastic. He's had to be scrubbed down. How you go in, you get a little over radiated. You got to wear those meters.
Yeah.
Let you know how much radiation you get, because they'll shut down a facility. What do they call it? I can't think of what they call it right now.
The nuclear...
An outage. They have an outage. Those guys will go in, they'll inspect everything, make sure everything's, where it needs to be. And he's showing me videos of where they've bought those mini subs from the military, and they sink them down into those reactors. And what they do is those reactors have the
with people in them.
They have like the ultrasound equipment on them, and they just basically go around the insides of that containment. That concrete, I guess. Yeah, and
the big old cone that you look at.
Just basically send that ultrasound there and make sure there's nothing. It's going to stay in the damn reactor.
Dang.
So, yeah.
Well, I had no idea. So your dad's kind of a Homer Simpson. I knew that was coming. All my friends asked if he glowed in the dark whenever I was younger, but definitely more competent. And then mom, what's mom do? Homemaker, man. Toughest job in the whole wide world, right there.
Yeah. She. My dad was off all over the world, so I spent most of my time around my mom. So my dad would come home, we'd clash. He'd come home and expect it to be one way, and we were living another.
Oh yeah,
so
that's kind of tough when you.
Oh yeah,
you got to get reacclimated there.
Yeah, he comes home and it's like my house, my rules, and it's like, well, you hadn't been around.
Yeah, where you been?
We've been doing this, but I mean, I get it.
Yeah, but he's working, trying to provide for the family.
Yeah,
exactly. I understand. I work 2-3 jobs just to make sure
at least
that my family stays provided for, and it's just the way to do it, man. I'm amazed when I see the dual income family, and I wonder how often they get together, and it seems like you're working out just fine. With your situation, you got plenty of family time.
We have worked hard to get to this point, because we're in a house we love, finally we're in a town we love.
Congratulations, by the way, new house, pretty much. Look forward to the time that I get out of my apartment, man, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's nice to have your own place to kind of just do with what you want. You don't have to go by landlord.
Right.
So, but anyway, so we moved to Saudi Daisy, and that's really when
88.
I'm a guitar player, by the way.
Musician. You play guitar.
Yeah. Right.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So that's
and wait, when did you pick up guitar?
Well, I picked up a little bit before we moved to Tennessee.
Now, what age did you happen to pick up a guitar or start playing any instrument or get?
At about 10. I had
10 years old.
Cousin who got a knockoff Fender Strat.
Nice.
And I picked it up and played it more than he did. So and I just sort of figured out things by ear. And it wasn't until we moved to Saudi Daisy that I actually really picked it up, because I didn't have friends at that point. I sat up in my room and I just learned everything by ear. I had
by yourself.
Yeah.
No instruction.
Like, because I didn't own a guitar. My mom had a old Suzuki Learner acoustic. I think it was terrible. Like the strings were like a mile high off the fretboard.
Okay.
So I ripped my fingers to shred, just like learning like Iron Man and, the AC/DC songs you learn when you're first playing guitar.
Sure.
So
I don't know what a mile high string means. Is it bad? I guess it's bad. Sounds bad.
Yes, the action, they call it the action on a guitar. You go to press down the strings to the fretboard to make the sound, but the strings are so high that you had to work so hard to press down on that fretboard to get the chord. Yeah.
And you can't bend the string so easily, or is that?
No. It was a cheaper guitar.
So Suzuki, probably something you'd pick up at a department store, maybe.
Right. And that thing was, at that point, she had it when she was a kid. So it was like from the 60s.
All right.
Early to mid 60s, probably.
So you learned on that by yourself in your room.
Yeah.
Listening to the radio and playing along.
Yeah. Until I got my own knockoff Stratocaster.
Okay.
And
did you get the Squire? Or?
It wasn't a Squire. It was called a Memphis.
A Memphis?
It was a Memphis, which when I got older.
How prophetic.
Yeah, exactly. There was a I say famous music store, but there's a music store in Memphis called Strings and Things. Excuse me. And I think they may have had something to do with those guitars. I'm not sure.
Oh, you think they built them or
yeah, maybe. Because I remember seeing a few of those in there. It may just be that they carried them, but I've never really heard of that brand.
And this is an acoustic guitar? Or
no, it was an electric. It was like a Fender Stratocaster, like a Jimi Hendrix style.
Okay.
Guitar. But I got that, and I had a little Dean Markley. Or no, that was later actually.
Oh, okay.
I had like a Sears amp, like maybe like a 5 or 10 watt particle board amplifier, in a distortion pedal, and I thought that was, oh my God, it was the greatest thing in the world.
Hey, I think the boy has done something. He's saving the world one video game at a time. What do we got here? What did he do?
We're doing like a podcast.
Yeah, he's introducing his boy right now.
Yeah, this is Morgan, by the way.
And Morgan's playing video games. What game is that there? One Piece. Is that based on the anime that they keep talking about? Oh yeah, I listen to the Southern Fried Geekery podcast, and they talk about One Piece all the time. Two of their guys is really into manga and anime.
Oh yeah,
I've never even. That's the first time I'm seeing it. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Morgan. All right, cool. So we're in Saudi Daisy. We got a Memphis knockoff of a Stratocaster.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the same thing. Fender Squier. It's just the Squiers and cheaper.
Oh yeah, we were going over what amp did you have at the time?
Was. I don't even know what it was like. Something you get out of a Sears catalog.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was great. It had tremolo on it, some little reverb, And
so, how old?
We were 10 when you picked about 11.
Oh, okay. So this is a year later after you picked. Okay. Was it mom said, "Hey, you've been using that Suzuki long enough"?
I guess she realized that it wasn't just a phase. So she. Yeah,
let's give you something to do. Yeah,
they actually got me lessons that lasted maybe a month because the guy would show up late. He had the feathered hair, the big hair.
Who didn't?
It was late 80s.
Yeah, who didn't?
So he had the big hair, and he came in, and you could tell he was really too cool for this. But it was at a music store. He would come in and give lessons.
Sure.
And
what did he teach you?
Well, he would, try to teach sort of the basics, the Mary Had a Little Lamb type stuff.
All right.
But
scales, maybe? Yeah.
But at that point, I'd actually like the blues scale, the pentatonic scale. But at that point, I learned most of that, so he'd come in and I'd be like, oh yeah, okay. I got that kind of already. He came in with a White Lion, solo,
the band White Lion.
Lion. He came in with the tablature for a White Lion solo, and I'd already learned it.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was like, "Oh, you already learned this?" Yeah.
Oh, so you were the smart kid in class, man, that was raising his hand for everything.
Yeah.
Because you knew it all already.
Well, I guess Inner Sandman
overachiever
had come out at that point, and I remember there was a kid before me going in for a lesson, and I picked Inner Sandman up just by watching that kid sitting there waiting on my lesson.
Right.
So at a certain point, I was like, this guy's showing up late, leaving early, and I'm already learning the stuff beforehand that he's given me. So I think I'm good.
That's a gift you got that you can see and hear and play.
Don't ask
3 steps
me to read anything.
Right.
And of course, I'm like a lot of people, you get older and you're like, oh, I wish I would have learned to read and learn the charts and all that stuff.
Sure.
But I learned by ear. I mean, like a lot of people, you're the kid who has a short attention span. So you're like, this is taking too long. I don't want to learn, from the Mel Bay book, Mary Had a Little Lamb and Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. I want to learn. At that point, it was like Ozzy Osbourne.
No, it just amazes
all
me.
That hair metal.
I have a cousin Timmy that does that. Just hears, plays.
Yeah,
amazing. So you got this Strat and the No Name amp from the maybe Sears catalog, and then you're 11 years old and thinking about being Or no, where do you head from here?
Ozzy's next guitar player. You know?
Well, yeah. Why not?
One of these days, I'm going to be the Randy Rhoads.
Of course, he can be. Let's do it now. Did it ever happen? No.
No, it did not.
We could still. Hey, the dream is still alive. Ozzy, if you can hear me, call Jason Lancaster.
Yeah.
Look him up.
I think he's good. I think he's good right now.
All right. So 11 years old, Saudi Daisy, small town. When do you get to the big town?
Well, we weren't there super long. We were there maybe like a year and a half, 2 years, and then we moved back to West Memphis. At that point, we just, my mom missed her family. Okay. I missed friends I had, but by the time I got back, at that age, a few years is a big deal.
Right.
A lot happens in those years. So the friends that I had before, I really didn't have after. They moved on to do different things.
By this time, it's the dog years, right? Are you 12, 13?
Yeah.
14?
13, 14.
13, 14. And this is 90.
Yeah,
maybe?
Right.
Okay, we're in that area.
Yeah, so I come back and basically start high school at that point, like 9th, 10th grade.
Yeah, you're a new kid, though.
Yeah.
New kid with a guitar.
New kid with a guitar, yeah.
Yeah, right. That could be pretty popular. Did you spin it?
What's that?
Did you spin it? Did you use it?
Oh, yeah. I used it like, you're talking about use it to my advantage.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But at that point, we're coming into the grunge years.
Okay.
So I found another buddy who played, and we, over the course of a couple of years, started bands in high school. And
sure.
He had his dad owned a laundromat. So like at night after it closed, everybody would leave.
Yeah.
We'd come in, all our musician buddies would come in, and we would just jam till 1 or 2 in the morning.
That's a nice situation to have a space that you can just blast, man, and work out your frustrations, work out whatever you're thinking of. You create.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So
what kind of musicians you have? You have your guitar. And
I'm a guitar. Yeah, it was like I said, it was the grunge, time. So we were learning Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and
wearing plaid shirts.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so that was the years I was really learning, really kind of getting better, and then I ended up meeting a couple of guys named Zach and Dude.
Perfect rock names already.
Yeah. Dude was a drummer. His name was David, but even his parents called him Dude.
What?
Yeah, and these guys were they were way ahead. That they were a drummer and a bass player.
Yeah. And
so we hooked up and would just jam. We were like the guys, we were the guys, in town. We would just get together and play like Primus,
Okay. That's pretty fun.
Zach was learning how to do all the slap stuff. And,
sure.
And Dude was a phenomenal drummer, but we could pull it off. And we were doing like Under the Bridge, Red Hot Chili Pepper stuff, the Primus stuff.
All the fast stuff.
All the stuff at that time, people were like, "Oh, if you can pull that off,
speed,
yeah,
you're going for speed."
Yeah. So I did that in high school, and I ended up meeting one of my best friends, Aaron Winter, and Aaron ended up going on to be the bass player for Few Left Standing, which is probably the most famous, I get. Is being a Few Left Standing.
All right, we'll get there. What was the band name before? What names did you go through in the increment?
I'm trying to think. I don't even really remember a lot of names. I remember.
Did you play any gigs though?
A few here and there. Talent shows.
Yeah. A couple restaurants, maybe.
Yeah, well, I've actually gotten to play on Bill Street, and I think it was like Rum Boogie or something like that.
How'd you do in the talent shows?
Did pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good. Yeah, I think we won our talent show in college, and in high school, of course, we we didn't. We played an Ozzy song, but of course,
right.
Somebody singing "The Wind Beneath My Wings" probably won.
See, full disclosure, right? Putting people that are creative in a competition, I'm still battling with that. Trying to figure out, look, you're a metal guy against a, rhythm and blues guy, against a juggler, against a comedian. How
Well, there was kind of a racket where these clubs would have talent shows.
Sure.
And, they'd make these young bands go out and like you basically have to sell tickets to the show.
Right.
And, so they're making money.
Sure they are.
Not making money.
Sure they are. They got free entertainment there.
We never got into that.
Battle of the DJs. All right. Bring your own stuff.
Yeah.
And, pay $20 to get in and provide entertainment for 6 hours. What? Yeah. For free for the club.
Yeah. So we didn't get into that. So, but I did play around a few places. We had started up a few bands, but nothing really of note until we get to Few Left Standing.
Let's get there. Let's get there. What year is this?
This is
you meet Aaron.
Well, we had worked together in a grocery store.
Okay. Go ahead. Give a shout out to the grocery store.
And actually, my wife worked there also.
Okay.
Is Big Star.
Big Star.
Gene Stimpson's Big Star.
That's big in the South.
Yeah. So
is it still on? Because I've seen some that are closed.
I don't know.
I guess there's still a few around.
There's probably a few around. I think the Big Star is still there in West Memphis. There were two.
Good place to work. Grocery store wise.
I mean, when you're in high school.
Sure.
Yeah. But
I worked in a grocery store when I was in high school. I worked at a Publix in Florida. It's
a good experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
You learned
spilled a drink on Dan Marino once.
Really?
Yeah. I was working in the deli, and he came up. Hey, can I have nice tea? Sure. I didn't put the cover on right, man. Because hey, it's Dan Marino standing in front of you, and you're 17.
Was he cool about it?
He said, his wife was much cooler. He didn't like. Well, he was carrying his little kid too, his baby. Oh, so he didn't like signing autographs because a lot of times, Mr. Marino, could you sign my Publix bag? Come on, get away. I'm trying with my family. Yeah. But yeah, that's a whole nother story. Hey, I like Dan Marino, and Dolphins are still my team. Go. So, all right.
But yeah, so I guess there was high school, and then I played in college and with my buddies, and we get to Few Left Standing. Out of college.
Few Left Standing. What year?
Left Standing. This was like 98.
98. Okay, so you're past the grunge phase.
Yeah,
you got that in your repertoire. You got some Metallica in your pocket there. Primus.
I was a big metalhead. Like when I was in the bedroom, learning guitar, it was Headbangers Ball. It was It was all that. It was the Anthrax, Metallica, Slayer. The big four, as they call it. Megadeth.
Your influences.
My influences.
Now, recently I heard on a different podcast, a guy outgrew his metal phase. What does that mean? Have you outgrown your metal phase?
Look, I get it. It always gets me when I hear guys say that. Because I get it. You get softer as you get older, or you just get into you broaden your horizons and you get into other things. But for me, it was never that way. I did broaden my horizons,
sure,
but for some reason, I just kind of went. There's so many subgenres of metal.
Yeah.
And even metal guys hate to call it metal sometimes. It's just basically like aggressive music.
Right.
Because I branched out into punk and hardcore and, the alternative, metal, progressive metal, progressive rock.
Man, you got to give me examples of all these things. What if are they subtle nuances, just real?
It gets to where it's just hard. It's hard to pin down because a band will throw in, they'll throw in like an influence that isn't a normal influence. So
sure.
Primus is pretty aggressive, but you wouldn't really call it metal, although they get lumped in.
Right. Right.
They were on Ozfest back in the day, but it's not really metal.
Oh, because they're doing covers of things sometimes too, aren't they? Yeah. Aren't they kind of what reggae does, where they do covers, or ska does, where they do covers of songs, but in that form?
Well, I mean, they've got their own stuff, but
Yeah, they do.
It's not really like the guitar player. I think was in like a tech death metal band back in the day, and then he got with Les Claypool, and he just started doing this weird kind of noodling over whatever Les Claypool was doing, and it's not really metal. It's not like he's doing power chords, and chunking along. But
what's a power chord?
It's basically like a dumb bar chord. You're taking the root 2 notes,
two fingers on the neck, and grabbing what's it like it's 1 and the third one, and the top string and the second string. Yeah, you're it's the next string. It's like 1 fret apart. Okay. Yeah. I wish I had a better. Very used. People will figure it out. But yeah. So, so he didn't really do that. He did like just sort of this weird jazzy, fusion sort of influence thing over whatever Les Claypool was doing. But yeah, I mean, that gets lumped in with metal, but it's not really metal. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's really, my thing is just aggressive music. It's just kind of oddball, but I definitely do love the metal, and I never grew out of it. I still listen to that stuff, but I listen to jazz, reggae. I was in a ska band for a little while in college. Yeah, broaden your horizons a little bit. Yeah. So few left standing. You get out of the grocery store with Aaron. Yeah, and who else? Well, I mean, at that point, I meet. No, Aaron and I played with a drummer named John Keegan. Okay, and he was a few years younger than us. Okay, and he was like a little weed head. All right. What does Aaron play? Bass. Oh, Aaron plays bass. Yeah, okay. Plays bass. And then you're lead. Yeah. Yeah. But John was like our little brother. He still is. Okay. Right. But yeah, at that point in time, he was, just a mischievous kid running around, town and smoking weed, drinking. And still in high school or just out? He was still in high school. Okay. All right. So I think when we got out, we had been put in touch with him. Sure. And we started playing and we clicked, but of course, John was still young. He was still, doing his thing with his high school friends. And so we sort of lost touch for a little while, but then ended up getting back together once he sort of cleaned up his act a bit. Sure. 98, 99. I guess this probably would have been 96, 97. Okay. All right. So this is sowing the seeds. The beginning of it. Yeah. So we end up coming back together. We always clicked. John moves over to Memphis. Somehow we all stay in touch, come back together again. I get with John. John knows the singer Chris. Okay. And at that point in time, there was another guitar player named Jim Joblin. And so I met up with them. I like the alliteration, Jim Joblin. Yeah, Jim Joblin. And we started playing. I brought Aaron in, as the bass player, and that's kind of the beginning. We started writing songs. So you got 4 guys. That's a band, we had 5 at that point. 5. Okay. Yeah, we had 2 guitar players. Me and Jim. You and Jim Joblin were the guitar players. Yeah. Aaron was the bass player. Who took lead? Who took rhythm? And is there a difference? Well, really, we were doing, I guess, what's considered metalcore. Okay. It's got the those types of vocals, but there wasn't really leads per se. Do you just kind of battle each other throughout the song, play off each other? Yeah, pretty much. We both pretty much played rhythms, but I may do like octaves, something that's kind of lead like, just as like a melody type thing over, the rhythms he's doing, and vice versa. But so the lineup: Jim Joplin, Aaron Winter on bass, Chris Stafford. It was the singer, and I missed the 5th one. John Keegan was the drummer. John Keegan, the drummer. Okay, the kid. Yeah. Oh, the kid. Yeah, the whippersnapper. The whippersnapper. Yeah. So and I'm probably glossing over so much, just trying to get to this point. But no problem. But yeah, so if you remember something, we get back to it. You can fill it in.
So we started writing, and we got to a point where I think we had.
You say we're writing, is everybody in the process?
Yeah, in the group where, I've always been the guy in the group who's like, it's been put on him to, hey, come up with something, we'll jam on it.
Sure.
Know? But at that point, Jim had a couple of really good parts. I think they had started on a couple of songs.
Could they all read music?
No.
So they were all playing by ear too.
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of guys. This is ragtag, man. You all can hear and play.
Right. Exactly.
So at that
we
point,
just play off each other. So
you're writing.
We're writing. We're doing originals, but we get like a really short set together. Not enough that we think we can play out live, but an opportunity comes up
to open. Yeah.
Playing in Memphis, and we take it. We're just like, you know what? We're just going to do it. It'll be a short set. No big deal. And
what's a short set?
Oh man, it was probably 20 minutes. Like we had 6 or 7 songs, and we were, of course, you're always shooting for at least 10, or you've got some imaginary number. You're thinking, this is the number you got to get to.
But did you know those 6 songs real well, enough to play in front of people and not embarrass yourself?
Yeah, we worked them up at that point. It's just we were still in the process of writing more because we wanted to have a longer set. But, we just kind of thought, you know what, get in and out real quick, just leave them wanting more. That's what you want to do. And it went over great. We did when you're playing music that is aggressive like that, if you've got like 2 or 3 bands playing the same bill,
sure.
Hey, a short set's good sometimes,
A show does that make, yes.
Yeah. So and man, after the first or second show, there was actually a friend of ours named Rocky that lived in Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay.
Or was from there. And he heard us and ended up going back to Birmingham and talking to a guy who ran a small label / distribution, like Christian music distribution.
Yeah, Birmingham's not a small town.
No. But he went back and, told him, hey, there's this band who's like really good. You should check them out. And at that point, he was starting up his own moniker, his own label. It was called UpTakeHold Records.
UpTakeHold Records out of Birmingham.
Records. Yeah.
And Rocky told the guy.
Yeah. Right. Rocky went to bat for us. And
did he have a recording of you, or?
I don't think he had a recording of us, actually.
So this is all hearsay.
This is all hearsay. So, but he was looking for Christian bands. By the way, we were Christian.
Oh, fantastic.
And we got offered to do a show because he was in one of those districts where, you had the storefront, but then you had like the big warehouse in the back, and it was like an industrial park type area.
Sure.
So he had the music store where he sold his CDs, but he would have these, they probably weren't legal. They were probably over capacity back in the.
I think there's statute of limitations here.
Yeah. So there was a stage set up back there, and we would play shows. And that first show we played, like, he had a lot of kids that would come to that spot, and the response was amazing. So from there, we went in half for studio time and put out our first CD, Regeneration of Self.
What? This is 2000.
That's it. No, this is 90,
still 90s.
It's like 99, maybe
99.
Yeah, Regeneration of Self, and of course
first CD. How many songs?
Oh, it was probably 10 or 11.
10 or 11. You had those down.
Had those at that point, and we were never we never really toured. We all had day jobs.
Well, you got the warehouse in the back of the CD spot there.
Well, yeah, we would go play Birmingham quite a bit. We would branch out as far away from Memphis as we could.
How far is Birmingham? I don't know the distance. 100 miles, 200
from Memphis. I want to say it was like maybe
200 miles.
Yeah, something like that.
At least.
Yeah, it was a couple hours to get there.
But
from Memphis. Yeah. So we would go there. We would go to St. Louis.
Missouri.
I was trying to think of the other places. Nashville, played there.
You say you didn't tour? That sounds like touring to me.
Well, it's you would take your weekends or whenever you could, or your vacation.
Yeah, even Nashville's 6 hours away.
Yeah, you would get it like you get as far as you could get and still make it back the next day to maybe make it to work if you had to be at work.
Yeah.
So
still working at the grocery store?
No. At this point, I was. Let's see,
full-time rock star.
I had worked at Blockbuster.
Okay.
And
what's a Blockbuster?
Yeah.
What do they do?
It's that store in the Captain Marvel movie that she crashes into.
Is it? Oh, spoilers, man! I haven't seen it.
You see that in the trailer?
Oh, I need to see it.
But yeah, so the video store, Blockbuster. But I started working for FedEx, and I worked at the Memphis hub.
Okay.
And at one point, every member of Few Left Standing worked at the Memphis hub.
Okay.
Yeah. So we would just get out as far as we could go to promote, the CD or whatever, and it did really well.
Excellent.
I mean, I can't tell you numbers really, but
sure.
I know we
made a couple bucks.
Yeah. I mean, we got to open for POD, which was a big deal.
Nice.
We opened for the Misfits, Biohazard. I'm sure a lot of these bands listeners won't know, but they were. Oh,
they're looking them up right now. Who are those guys?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll listen to the music.
Among many other bands that we're fairly big in what we do or in the type of music we do. But we did that, and then we did our second. No. A friend of ours here in Little Rock, we put out a 7-inch, put out a little 2-song record.
What's a record, Daddy? Grandpa?
Vinyl. Oh, people know. I mean, vinyl.
Oh, it's coming back.
Yeah,
it is. It really is.
Even tape has come back, which amazes me.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's a big underground punk movement with the cassette tape. I'm just like,
but
I
tape just
vinyl,
degrades so much. Yeah. There's a guy that records on tape, and then he waits for it to degrade. He plays it so much on a loop and uses that sound as it's degrading and just lets it spin down. Oh yeah. Uses it in movies and other creative projects and stuff.
I mean, I guess I get it because the punk aesthetic. It's easier to get a hold of a tape player probably than it is like the equipment for a record player. So MP3 recorder is cheap. Everybody's got one on their phone, right? Yeah. But your broke down punk jalopy may still have a tape deck in it. I don't know. But anyway.
So you made a 7-inch record.
So I made a 7-inch record.
And you still have a copy of that?
I do actually.
What?
Yes, I do. It was that translucent red vinyl, thick red vinyl. Man, it's beautiful.
All right. If you can get a hold of Jason Lancaster, maybe you can get him to part with it.
No. That's my personal copy, and there was maybe a few hundred made, but it was a small run. We did it with a buddy of ours, Jerry Woe, which he has a podcast called You're Not Core.
You're Not Core.
Yeah.
Okay, Jerry Woe.
It's a very niche podcast. They talk about old hardcore they like, or they kind of rate it, go back and review, stuff from that style of music. But they're pretty funny.
Excellent. So how many songs are on a 7-inch?
Well, this was a song on one side. It's those smaller vinyl records. So you had one song on one side and one
like a 45.
Yeah.
Was it a 45?
Or
was it 33 and a third? 45 is the little ones with the big hole.
Yeah,
that you need a spindle for.
No, this had the small hole. This
wow,
but it was
because
like
the 12-inch.
It wasn't the big platter. It was
12-inch is the big one that you can put a few songs on.
7-inch had the small hole.
So one song on each side. Mm-hmm. So a single. Okay.
Yeah. And they're for like 3 to 4 minute songs.
Yeah. So 2 different songs from the other 10 or 11 that you had?
One we re-recorded for the second full length CD, and the other one you can only find on that 7-inch.
So you got 11, 12 original songs in your repertoire at this point?
At this point.
Few left standing?
Yeah, like 11 or 12, 13, something like that.
12. Does that make a show?
Yeah.
That's about an hour, I guess, close to an hour.
We didn't really do covers. Our songs could be, I think we could have maybe 40, at that point, a 45-minute set.
Yeah. Yeah. It's about 15 songs an hour when you play them
Maybe.
back to back.
Yeah. Yes. But you don't need to do long sets when you're doing originals like that for our type of music. So we did that, and that was fun because it was DIY. That was
Sure.
just our buddies, doing it with us.
Well, who did the press?
Jerry. Jerry had
the one in Birmingham.
No,
Jerry.
Chad was in Birmingham.
Chad in Birmingham.
He ran TakeHold Records.
TakeHold, okay, and he put out your CD.
Yeah, he put out the full length CD. Yeah,
Who distributed that?
At that point, I don't think he had some pretty decent distribution. I think it was through Lumberjack distribution, though. Which
never heard of it.
But it was, I think it got out there. It just wasn't as wide as some other distribution companies. But
okay, so Chad's got the Lumberjack, and then Jerry's
he was always going looking to get better distribution. But Jerry
he's got a press. He's got like a homemade press.
No, he was just a kid that went to shows who loved music. He was a friend of ours. So him and a buddy decided they would just help bands that they liked release their music.
And how was he cutting records? He
actually
making them.
Basically, he would pay to have them done. He didn't cut them.
So he was recording on tape.
No, he wasn't recording it. He was on a smaller level doing what Chad was doing with us, except he was just he would take bands that he liked.
Sure.
And just put some money into it, and have it shipped off to be put on vinyl.
Who's recording this?
We with that one, the first full length we did here in Little Rock with a guy named Barry Pointer at Pointer's Palace.
Okay.
And he was that was that first CD was quality. But
right.
We wanted more of a lo-fi, crusty punk sound on that 7-inch.
Why would you do that?
It's just, we were into some pretty crusty punk, style of music.
It sounds too clean, man.
Yeah, too clean. Look, there's something to be said for some of the lo-fi stuff.
All right.
But, so we went that route, got with a guy there in Memphis. I'm trying to remember what his name was, but anyway,
it'll come to you, baby.
It'll come to me. But we recorded with him, and put that out with Trio Woe, Jerry Woe, and
2000 maybe.
End of 99 maybe.
Man, I'm wanting to put you in 2000. You're still in the late 90s. Killing it.
The second CD was 2000.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was, we upped the production value on that. We went back to Barry Pointer at Pointer's Palace.
And this is in Little Rock.
Okay.
And he had good equipment.
He had great equipment. He was recording a lot of the bands that, we were kind of in the orbit of,
Sure.
So like Living Sacrifice recorded with him. So of course, we liked the way their stuff sounded, so that's why we got with Barry.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And he made you a CD, or you made a CD with him.
Well, he was the guy who recorded the first CD, and then we went back to him for the second full length.
Yeah. How many more songs do you have in your pocket now?
It's another 11 or 12 songs that we do for the. Yeah, we wrote specifically for that one.
Yeah,
it came a time once we were done with the first CD, and writing the couple of songs for the 7-inch that we were like, okay, we got to sit down and write the second album.
Okay, I mean all original songs.
All original.
Now, let's go back to the writing process since you just mentioned it. Who's writing the songs? Are all of you in there?
We lost Jim, the second guitar player, before we went into.
My condolences. Lost.
Well, it's he left the band.
Oh, okay, okay. No, it's still kicking. All right.
Yeah. But he left, and but there were remnants of what we'd written together.
Sure.
And so there's a song or two that can be attributed. to Jim.
Oh.
And then by the time it comes to the second CD, that's all of us. We're 4-piece at that point. We try to bring in a couple of other guitar players. It just didn't work out.
Sure.
So,
you streamline now. You 4 pieces. That's a rock band right there.
Yeah. But so at that point, the process of writing is I'll come up with parts of songs. We'll work it out.
Sure.
I've always worked well with John, the drummer.
Okay.
We'll just get together and we'll bang it out. We'll start vibing on what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then it's, all of a sudden it's like, oh, that was cool.
Yeah.
So we'll piece that together and try to come up with a good transition to get into this part and try not to make it sound cut and paste, but actually try to make it flow.
So you and Chad are pretty much working this part out.
Me and John.
John, right.
Yeah.
And then Aaron is on the bass, and then Chad.
The details get real sketchy.
No, that's all right. I should be writing this down, but I'm figuring it out here.
But yeah, so John and I always worked well that way. Like we would get together and just bang it out. Because man, it's one thing to sit in your room with the guitar and like just play these parts, but when you got a drummer just like rocking out with you, man, it can inspire you.
I remember I went to an open mic one night in Tobacco Road down in Miami, and one of my favorites open mics was just a bass player and a drummer, and I think the guy just had a bucket. And they were just working stuff out, just the two of them. It was just so good.
If you got passion for what you're doing, man, it doesn't, I was saying this recently. It doesn't matter what you're playing on. If you got the talent, it'll come through.
Yeah.
So we start writing for that. The writing process, that was pretty much it. Is him and I would kind of come up with these parts. Then we take it to Chris and Aaron, and of course, everybody's an editor at that point. So
of course,
it's like, so this, that's lame.
Right.
We need to get away from that. So then I go back to the drawing board and it's like, okay, let's see.
Any lyrics in these songs, or is it all instrumental?
No, this lyrics. Cause Chris Stafford was a singer.
Sure.
So he's writing lyrics.
He writes the lyrics.
Yeah, but he's listening to what we're doing musically.
Yeah.
And then he's writing, lyrics to that.
Okay. So now I'm getting
as we go.
All right.
Yeah. So it's basically us hashing out all these parts, and then there's the editing process afterwards.
Okay.
We all get together in the room and we're playing through what we can get through, but then we're like, that doesn't work. Okay, let me try this and that. And it just gets refined as you go until you've got your beginning, middle, and end.
Sure.
Now
this is all Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Metal music. What defines a Christian metal band? Do you have to live a certain way too?
We always Chris is very bold lyrically.
Sure.
Very scripture based. But we would always say we always wanted to go to the dirtiest places you could go. We went to there was like the punk scene where Christians were not allowed to play. They didn't want a Christian band playing, but we actually made really good friends with some of these guys, and they went to bat for us to get us.
You're getting the word out, man. You might get to save somebody.
They went to what we call the Punk Rock High Council and was like, "Hey, look, man, these guys are good dudes. Let them play." So we got to play some places that other groups probably wouldn't have gotten their foot in the door to play. And so we would always say, "Hey, look, we're just filthy, dirty, people, human beings. We have the same pitfalls as everybody else."
Are you having to edit in these places, or you're singing your song straight through?
No, just singing them. Just singing them the way we wrote them. But
putting your scripture based.
But the message is. Between the songs is, hey, look, we're no better than anybody else.
Yeah.
We have the same downfalls as every other person.
Sure enough.
We're not above anybody. So, and then of course there's the subject matter in the songs, the Christian, a message.
Well,
so,
I'm listening I listen to Christian rap music, and there's really no distinction except every once in a while they throw a Jesus in there. Is that how the Christian metal is?
at the point that we were doing that, there was sort of this movement away from, you were getting away from the bold, spirit-filled hardcore, like everybody was wanting to be, I'd rather be, we're Christians in a band and not a Christian band.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's trying, the message gets a little more secular and less Christian.
Well, I mean, y'all have to be church-going boys to be a part of this?
No. I mean, did you have to strictly be in a church? No.
Right.
But, but we all were,
Good.
At that
all
point.
Right. Okay. So I've been through the gambit myself. I mean,
what's that?
Religiously, I've been through the gambit myself. So, put my toes in many different aspects of it. Yeah, right. Just to kind of figure out where I was going.
That's what you do, man. You figure out where you stand.
Sure.
But so we went into a lot of places that maybe other groups wouldn't have gone into.
Okay.
In those situations.
Any fights break out? Any rough housing? Were you feared for your lives and your equipment?
We went on something called the 40 Days of Disaster tour.
That already sounds like.
Well, this was after the second CD came out, Wormwood.
Okay, and this is
like 2000.
2000. Okay. And you're touring for this record.
Touring for this record, and we're on the road with Under Oath, which some of your listeners, your younger guys, may know. If they've been into like the screamo metal stuff, they'll know Under Oath, because Under Oath is playing. Like I see, they're playing with Slipknot and
they're looking them up now.
System of a Down on these huge, open air festivals all over the world. But anyway, at that point in time, it was, I think the only original member is the drummer at this point. And even he left for a little while and came back. At Under Oath. In Under Oath, yeah. Okay. So anyway, we're on the road with them on the 40 Days of Disaster tour, and all of these bands are on TakeHold. Who's opening for who? The TakeHold label. I think that was one of those deals where we just, at that point, we were all kind of on even ground. No prima donnas here. No, you're opening for me. Well, I won't say there weren't prima donnas. The Under Oath went on to be, what they were. So there was some prima donna going on there. But they did good. I'm glad they had some success as well. Yeah. Like I said, that was a totally different band at that point. But we had, on that tour, we started what we called the Bat Fight. Fight. Us older guys. I'm picturing Ozzy Osbourne here for some reason, going back to him. We got bored. So like in Colorado Springs, we decided we wanted to, we made these makeshift bats, but they were like foam bats. And we would attack the other bands. On the tour. Baseball bats. See, I'm thinking flying bats, the rodents. No. We originally, we hitting people with wiffle ball bats. Yeah. Well, they were foam. We weren't trying to, give anybody brain damage or nothing. But we would walk in while the other band was playing and just like, like we were like the gang from A Clockwork Orange. Sure enough. We were being menacing to the band on stage. Yeah. And it sort of became a thing. So we started having bat fight tournaments. Okay. And I remember Jerry Woe, who put out the 7-inch, him and our bass player Aaron. It was one of those things where you're tied to one another and you both got a bat and you're swinging. Yes. Okay. So we're out. You're doing gladiator fights here with bats. We're out in a park when we're playing this festival, and we had this tournament with some of the other bands, because at that point the other bands were getting in on it. And I remember those two going at it, and it was that thing where they just got more aggressive, and they were getting pissed at one another. Yeah. So I had to finally jump in. I was like, whoa, guys, look, you guys are getting a little, this is going into a whole different direction. No real shots, man. No real shots. Like, no, what are you talking about, man? We're not mad. So Jerry, who was on tour with us, like the next day, he had this whelp. Oh my gosh. It was this black and blue and purple whelp on like the back, like his back. Yeah. Like the thing was like the size of like a sandwich. I mean, it was bruise on the back. Yeah. Big time. Yeah. But I mean, it got a little out of hand. It was fun though. It actually took on a life of its own, and some of the groups that would come through Memphis had heard about it.
How many stops on this tour?
Would come and be like, "Hey man, we heard you guys like beat each other up with bats." Like, man, come on, they're like Nerf bats. It's
now, how many stops on this tour? Colorado Springs, and
it was meant to be. We went St. Louis, Kansas City, Colorado, or Denver, Colorado. Outside of Denver, Colorado, Colorado Springs, Salt Lake City. Up through Wyoming. We went out to Washington State.
So how many people at these concerts do you think? How many seats?
There was a couple of there was like a festival on the route, so there was a lot of people there.
Like carnivals you're playing?
No, like music festivals.
Fairgrounds, I guess.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what the one festival we played in Stevenson, Washington.
Covered or not covered? Were the audience covered or?
They weren't. It was outside,
out in the elements. Okay,
out in the elements.
But you guys had a nice day.
Oh yeah, we were on stage out here looking at mountain ranges. It was like, this is great.
Yes, it is. This. Yeah, you're getting out there. You're seeing new things. It's wonderful.
Yeah. So we were going down the coast, and we got to San Francisco. We were supposed to play a place outside of San Francisco, and Chris and his wife at the time were having bad issues. And,
singer.
So we basically jettisoned the tour at that point to get back to Memphis.
So you didn't make it to San Francisco?
Yeah, the plan was, we didn't play that show that night. We were supposed to make it down into like San Diego.
Yes.
And then play our way back across.
That's funny. I've done that tour the opposite way. I DJ'd with a singles group, and I did from Florida up out I-10 to I-8 to San Diego and made stops along the way. Went up the 5, I guess. All the way to L.A., Pasadena, and then over to Las Vegas.
You're starting to sound like that SNL skit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The Californians. You got to take the 8 to the 7.
Yeah. So we jettisoned the tour, and we didn't get to finish it off with the fellas, but it was fun. We almost lit Wyoming on fire.
You're talking about the bats and the different stops, and I'm projecting where this story is going to go, and it didn't go quite where I thought it was. I thought there was going to be some fans that were bringing real bats and getting in on the action, having some fun.
I remember under oath being on like a Sirius satellite radio show, and the guitar player or somebody was talking about the bat fights, but they didn't attribute them to us. And I was thinking, don't y'all be taking credit for what we started. Come on now.
Right.
It's like we would go after them with bats, but they would take Victoria's Secret body spray and lighters.
What?
And they do the flamethrower thing at us to try to keep us away.
No, that's dangerous. No.
So because
your bat does not beat a Victoria's Secret flamethrower. Or does it?
But we tried. So anyway, no, it didn't get there, but we did have other bands come through that were like, man, we heard y'all beat people up with bats. No,
okay.
That's awesome. That'd be great, but no.
I guess I should tell people don't beat each other with bats.
Don't beat each other with bats. We were just bored. At the time, my wife was with my parents in Hawaii.
What?
So I'm sitting on the Colorado River thinking, oh man, my wife's in Hawaii right now, and I'm doing this to myself.
Yeah. You can be in Hawaii.
Yeah, exactly. I ended up going, but that was years later. But anyway.
I've never been. Need to get out there. I guess I need to check that out. So you cut the tour short. Chris and having family problems.
Yeah. I mean,
did he work it out? Hopefully,
they got a divorce.
Oh, sad news.
But it all worked out in the end. But we still kept doing our thing. But
2000, 2001.
And this was the 2000. At the end of 2000, I guess. Really, Chris decided he did not want to continue with Few Left Standing anymore because of what was going on in his life. He just didn't feel, he felt like he was an imposter at that point.
Okay.
You know, he had so much crap going on with his marriage.
Sure.
He just didn't feel right being on stage, you know, putting this message out, and he's got stuff going on in his life.
Keeping his own family. Oh,
right.
no, I get it. You got to keep your house straight as well.
Right. And
in order.
We got it. You know, we decided we weren't going to do it anymore as Few Left Standing.
No.
Yeah. Cause we were a gang. We weren't, you know, this wasn't like a business thing. We were, you know, we didn't want to do it with anybody else.
Didn't want to replace Chris.
Didn't want to replace Chris. Couldn't replace Chris.
Oh, man.
It couldn't replace any of us and it'd be the same.
Yeah.
So, but at the same point in time, Chad is selling UpTakeHold Records to Tooth and Nail Records.
Okay.
Which Tooth and Nail is like the biggest independent and also Christian label. They had a subsidiary called Solid State that did like all the heavy stuff. But anyway, he basically sold his label out to Tooth and Nail. Like the bigger label bought the smaller label out.
Okay.
And they wanted us to continue on as Few Left Standing and put out, you know, sign a contract to do more records. And apparently, and this is hard for me to wrap my head around, one of the big reasons that he bought UpTakeHold out was to get us.
What?
Was to get us. And at that point, us and Under Oath were big deals for the UpTakeHold label.
Very good.
UpTakeHold continued, or Under Oath continued on.
Yeah.
And became what they became. Their sound drastically changed over the time. But are
they still going Under Oath?
Yeah. Under Oath is still, they're, like I said, they're still playing, you know, big open air, you know, metal festivals with, you know, people like the Scorpions and
what?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And this is the end of the journey for Few Left Standing.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, we're all brothers. We all, you know, still hang out and get together and, you know, be stupid together.
Okay.
But as far
so you
as,
still
as
go?
far as
They're still in West Memphis.
Chris is in Memphis. Yeah, all of those guys are still in Memphis. Yeah,
and you go back over there and
yeah, because my family's there. My mom and dad still lives there, and I mean, I've got a lot more friends that are there. So yeah, so we still go back, and we've, you know, gotten together. I mean, we still get together. We've tried to sort of get it back up and running over the years, but for whatever reason, it just never gets to going. You know,
so Few Left Standing's broken up. Where do we go from here? We
went ahead and we signed the contract for the Tooth and Nail buyout.
Sure.
You know, we basically, you know, signed the contract with Tooth and Nail that, yeah, sure, we'll put out another couple CDs, knowing that we weren't going to be together, but that got Chad the wider distribution that Tooth and Nail could provide for the rest of his bands.
Oh, so this is under false pretense, I guess?
I mean, not really. They knew we had, I think at that point, they knew we were breaking up or we were calling it quits.
Okay. See, I don't know how the music industry works.
Because they were basically buying the rights to the first two full lengths.
Okay, so they had the rights to those albums, and they were able to,
they could push those,
put those out and redistribute them. And
so Chad was, I think he was in dire straits with his, you know, the UpTakeHold record label. You know, he put a lot of money into it,
sure,
but he was in over his head. So he sold his company to Tooth and Nail, became an A&R guy for them.
Oh, okay, so he's got a job. He got a good job.
Yeah, he basically continued on under Tooth and Nail, and he was repping for Under Oath. You know, he was still involved with Under Oath.
Sounds like a decent job to me.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so we just, you know, from then on out, we just kind of did our thing, had kids, got married, and you know, if we weren't married at that point, you know, had divorces, couple of the guys, and remarried and whatnot. So. just life happened after that. I've done music since. In different capacities.
Where we at? Yeah, where we at since then?
Well,
2001, 2002. Where do we go?
I briefly got back into a group called To Serve Man. It was fun. I recorded and put out a full length you can find on Bandcamp under To Serve Man Memphis.
That was a good movie back in the 50s, right?
It was
one where they were eating people. Aliens came down.
Outer Limits episode. Is what
Outer Limits. To Serve Man.
The cookbook is To Serve Man.
To Serve Man.
Yeah.
But different context for the band.
Exactly.
We hope.
But I did that. It was fun. It really ultimately didn't really go anywhere, but it was fun to do. I enjoyed it. Those were good guys.
Another 3-4 piece band.
This is a 5-piece.
5-piece.
And 6-piece. 6-piece because there was a keyboard player.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, that was fun.
I remember, what was it, 79? That Van Halen said, "Oh, we're never going to use synthesizers." Mm-hmm. And then 1983, they came up with 1984, all synthesizers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So you got a synthesizer in the band.
Exactly.
All right.
Heck, even Michael McDonald wrote one of the songs on 1984.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that.
So bet that.
Okay.
But anyway, so
is that Yacht Rock?
Look, it's part of the Yacht Rock story. If you get on YouTube, they do an episode about that. But I did that, and then we came here
to Conway, Arkansas.
I took a job here in Conway, Arkansas, and really didn't do too much. I've always been recording in my house, just doing things. I'm basically, it's one of those things about being a songwriter is that, or just a creative person, it doesn't really matter if it goes anywhere. You just are compelled to do it.
Yeah, you still got your guitar. How many guitars do you have?
It exploded here in the last couple of years.
Come on.
I found a good, cheap connection. But at this point, I'm probably
you got a dealer.
Yeah.
He's got a dealer. Yeah. He's mainlining.
Yeah. I got probably about 7 or 8.
7 or 8. Why? Why so many? That's like having 7 or 8 cars.
At some point, I wanted an SG style, or one point I wanted a Telecaster style. Do they sound different? Are they different when you play them? I have 3 guitars that I cannot play. I've never been a gearhead.
Sure. So you pick these up for a specific reason. Hey, I want that sound.
Yeah. I mean they approximate the guitars that they're based off of. Like the Hard Luck Kings is the company, and they do basically all the popular styles. And I mean, they're fairly close. I mean, I like them. I use them. I use them on stage when I play. I use them when I record.
Okay, so the Harley Kings is the brand name.
Hard Luck Kings.
Hard Luck Kings, and they're making guitars that are similar to SGs,
but really cheap,
and Stratocasters, and
like $100 to $200, bucks.
Yeah,
they've got like some higher end ones, but really the most expensive ones they make, and maybe $400.
So all right, so this is what people will be spending on a starter kit anyway.
Right? Yeah, you might as well get a guitar that you can actually keep for a little while.
And these are decent guitars. Do they stay in tune?
Yeah.
Because I remember my cousin Timmy, he played my Squire Strat, and he said, "Man, it's pretty good, but it knocks out of tune after a couple 3 songs."
Strats, especially a Squire, the Strats are, even back in the days of Hendrix and Clapton, Strats are just known to not stay in tune very well. I mean, over the years they've gotten better, but Strats are notorious for going out of tune real easy. Okay. Yeah.
So, what guitar would be your favorite, I guess, that you would pick up and just play for the most part?
When I was a kid, I was always, I never had one, never had the money, but I wanted Les Paul.
Yeah.
So about, I guess,
legendary.
96, my mom bought me a Les Paul Studio, which is the lower rung, but it's still a Les Paul.
Still looks like a Les Paul.
It just doesn't have
that
like
classic shape.
Yeah, it doesn't have like the neck binding and some of the other things that are.
Is it pickups and?
Yeah, it's things like that. It's not the higher end details of some of the more expensive ones, but but it was still a Les Paul. So that was my main thing for years. I used it on the Few Left Standing, CDs.
Oh, you played those in studio?
Yeah, that point in time, those are the Les Paul was my main thing. And for years, up until very recently, that was my main guitar I used. And then I bought a Hard Luck Kings Flying V.
Okay.
And I love that thing.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean,
they're neat looking.
It's still probably the best sounding one of all the Hard Luck Kings. It's got a nice thick, like big sound.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
Well, does that mean you can play it on every song or it has to be tuned differently?
It's just, I mean, you can, the Telecasters and Strats have what they call a single coil.
Okay.
Pickup.
Sure.
And they're more twangy. Like they're really good for country or just more jangly style rock and roll.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for like brutal, like heavy
right
music, we want a humbucker sound, which is generally your Les Pauls. And
okay, I have a Squire Strat that has 2 or 3 single coils, and then the Ibanez S 120, I think it is. That one has double humbuckers.
Oh yeah, so you got like like they're 2 single coils together.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's got 2 of those. Mm-hmm. See, like I have 3 guitars, but I cannot play any of them. They're nice to look at. I've picked them up. I've tried to play some.
Yeah.
And I'm just not. I haven't had the time. But I know if I had the desire, I'd make the time. Because I make the time to do other things as well.
Had I not had my time in Chattanooga, just to myself up in my bedroom, I don't know what would have happened. But it took off, and I still have to go. Nowadays, I may go a couple days without picking up a guitar, but man, I'll just sit down and just zone out. And I've really learned that it's a Zen thing, really. I sit down and just kind of my mind wanders when I'm just noodling.
Right. So where's the Jason Lancaster experience going now? See, I said it. I recorded it.
Well, currently I'm playing with the group out of Russellville called Cab Over Pete. And
how long you been doing that?
I've been doing that for the last maybe year and a half.
Year and a half since 2017 then?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You started with them that long ago.
Yeah. I know it doesn't seem like it, but it's been a while. But yeah, so I've been playing.
Who are those guys? Cab Over Pete. Who are they?
Cab Over Pete. It's really a Southern rock, outfit. We do a lot of covers, but we also do originals. We've just put out a EP that's on Spotify and iTunes and
what's an EP?
All your streaming platforms. It's not a full length. It's like 6 to 7. It's 6 songs. It's called Sixer because there's 6 songs on it.
Yeah.
So you're
producing, you're creating.
Yeah, well,
go out and find it. What's the name of the album again?
It's called Sixer. Cab Over Pete is the band. Sixer is the EP.
Cab Over Pete.
Cab over
C-A-B.
one word, which Rod told me that if I brought this up, that I should say Cab Over is one word.
Cab Over.
Yeah, and their background is with shipping and trucking.
Sure.
I think there was a family owned business that those guys had, and the Cab Over Pete comes from the Peterbilt trucks with the cab over.
Okay, like the sleeping cab. Yeah, okay. Now I'm getting it from A to B, which is not that far.
Right.
So, okay, that's a step away from the metal. You said you were branching out.
I mean, I grew up on all kinds of stuff, and this is a way to have fun playing some of the stuff that I grew up learning.
Yeah.
I was a metal guy. I learned a lot of hair metal, thrash metal stuff, but I also heard the classic rock as well.
How many pieces in Cab Over Pete?
That is a 5-piece.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, standard 2 guitars, bass, drums.
2 guitars.
Well, no, actually it's 3 guitars. My bad, because Rod also played the guitar.
Who's Rod? Which one?
The singer / guitar player.
Rod plays guitar, and then wait, where's the 3rd guitar? Oh, bass guitar.
Well, there's me, and we've also added Jeff Russell.
So there's 3 lead guitars and a bass guitar?
2 lead and Rod. Rod can actually play lead, but he's not. He's shy. He don't like to. He didn't feel too good about his skills as a lead player. So he leaves it up to the 2 guys on the left and right of him.
All right. So hey, that fills out the sound a whole lot.
Yes, it does.
And then plus the bass guitar, is that it, or is that one? So
Casey on bass.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Casey Willis and
still making bass face.
Still making bass face, man. You have to come out and
full disclosure. I had the opportunity to see them live, and man, he makes some good faces. I'll tell you.
Yeah. Bass players got to stand out, so they got to do their own little show over in the corner. And God, sure. I tell him keep it up, man. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, beginning of the show, he was all cool, but then once he got into it, oh man, he was out there just feeling it.
So you got Rod and Chad, they're brothers. Rod and Chad Cope, and Chad is on drums. They've played forever together, obviously.
Okay.
And Jeff Russell, the other guitar player. He's a recent addition because they needed a second guitar player to play a gig around Christmas time because I wasn't able to.
Right. Yeah.
And he played with them since high school, so he kind of came back into the fold. And now it's insane. It's obnoxious how many guitars are going on in this group.
Very good.
So, but we get to do some of the double lead.
Sure.
Harmony stuff, and there's still Rod playing the rhythm underneath.
How many gigs you playing in a month?
Here lately, I'm trying to think. We played one last month. It seems like.
Yeah.
We've
just easing into it. Yeah.
We got let's see. We've got a fundraiser happening on the 27th of this month. And then May 3rd, though, which is the CD release party at Old Town Bank in Russellville.
May 3rd. Be there.
May 3rd. Be there. We're playing the Old Town Bank on Friday night. And it should be awesome. The responses we've gotten at the Old Bank is great.
Excellent.
Yeah. So,
all right. So any other endeavors musically?
I've always got stuff going on. I got a super secret project that I'm working on.
Come on, it's just you and me. Don't worry about it.
It's not.
No, just tell me in my ear. Secret. Yeah.
I'm writing music for something and working with some guys.
Excellent.
Yeah, and we're going to get it together. I'm also working with a guy out of Brinkley, and that's more of the hair metal. I don't want to say hair metal, but it's more of my indulgences from back whenever I was younger. More of the stuff I grew up learning to play.
Jason Lancaster, I think I've taken up enough of your time. It's Sunday. It's about noon, and the family looks like they're hungry and they're ready to be with you, man. Enjoy your lazy Sunday. So where do the people find out more about you? Where can they contact you socially?
Well, I'm Lee Carlisle on Facebook. If you're looking for me personally, but I also have Jason Lancaster Guitarist is a page I run off of that one, and that's where I do all the promotional stuff.
Excellent, Jason Lancaster Guitarist. Sir. I'll definitely put that in the show notes, or at least on the picture that I steal from your Facebook and make into the cover pick for this podcast.
I look forward to it.
You feel good? You feel like we did something?
I feel good. Yeah, I probably said a lot of likes and ums and sounded like a complete moron, but sure, let's go with it. No,
it just gets better and better and better. Ever forward, Jason Lancaster.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
Well, congratulations on this podcast. It's look, you've got up and running and just ran with it. I mean,
man, I'm having a good time getting to know more about people that I'm interested in, and you are definitely one of those people. And you said I was going to have trouble finding a time to get with you, and here we found the time.
We finally did it.
About 12 podcasts in. I think you might be lucky number 13.
Oh my goodness. That's appropriate.
All right, then. What makes you famous? Jason Lancaster. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, party people, that was Jason Lancaster, guitarist. rock god. Dare I say it? I think I just said it. I learned a little bit more about Jason that I didn't know before. So happy that he allowed me to come to his beautiful house and disturb him and his family on a Sunday and learn more. Thank you, Jason Lancaster. Well, that's it for this episode of What Makes You Famous. If you want to be a part of the show, perhaps tell your story on the program. Give me a call at 501-470-6386 or send me an email, info@radiowhat.com. Well, that's it for this edition. This is Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.
Radio What? The music you want. Hey guys, this is Shelly G with a fast fact. Duran Duran took their name from a mad scientist in the movie Barbarella. Do you have a fast fact? Share it with us at Interactive Radio, RadioWhat.com.
Follow Keys Dan on Facebook and Twitter. Click on the links at the top of KeysDan.com. Follow Radio What on Facebook and Twitter. Click on the links at the top of RadioWhat.com. The music you want is on.